Hello everybody and happy Monday. It is the week of Monday, June 26th, and it's time for another episode of Mark's Monday Minutes in Portland Real Estate. That's right, this weekly video that I do just to give you information on the Portland market. I may make some comparisons to national trends, but my goal is to educate you. And perhaps as you have questions, reach out to me for clarification. I am always here for answers. I'm a former statistician, so I tend to throw out some numbers out there. I look at them, I'm realizing we need to make some changes. I'm still working on some technological changes to put some graphs into these videos because I'm not a techie, but I'm going to do what I can to help educate you. And again, as you have questions, reach out to me, Mark at portlandhomesforcars.com. All right, it is the week, as I said, of June 26th. Right now this week, we are up our current active listings through, goodness, I forgot my usual first three takeaways. I'm already in holiday mode. I'm ready to go away this weekend, but I'm working hard this week before we go to vacation. All right, three takeaways this week. First of all, we're seeing that buyers, although they're sensitive to changes in rates for mortgages, as long as those changes aren't buying, their buying activity remains stable. Second of all, home prices now, as we get to the end of June and cross into July, home prices will now begin to be positive year over year based on a statistical analysis to last year where we went up like a rocket, crashed down. Now we're finally passing that point of inflection where the prices will continue. We'll talk about that. Number three, as I have said repeatedly, there are no data-driven reasons why it looks that prices will drop in the foreseeable future. At least through 2023. We'll talk about that. So let's go on to the numbers. The active total, 3,811 listings in Portland this year. Again, a new high water mark for us. I suspect it may drop off next week because of the holiday, but we're at the highest number of listings we've had. Thankfully, we started at 3,000 back in January, so artificially high. We dropped, now we're back up, at least more choices for buyers. The number of new listings this week, 611. Not the most we've seen, but good activity showing that sellers are interested in putting their homes out to sell, giving buyers more opportunity. The number of pendings this week, 507, a nice consistent 500s level activity. Again, as I said, buyer activity, as long as mortgage rates remain steady, buyers will continue as well. It's when we start to see changes like we did last year in 22. We had two big changes in June and September, and those were both the times where buyer activity just dropped and plummeted. So big changes. As long as we don't see that, we don't have any reason to suspect that buyer activity would drop or change. The number of sold homes in the last week, the number of sold homes in the last week, 348, consistent. We've been sitting in this mid 300s now for 4 weeks in a row. That's normal. The number of homes with a price adjustment, 925, about 24.3%. Again, compared to national trends right now at 31.2% is what I saw this morning. So perfectly normal. We're below the national trends for the number of price adjustments. We're where we would expect to be at this time of the year. And we'll probably see more going into the second half of the year, but that's okay. That's normal. My job here is present what is normal versus what you might want to keep your eye on. The number of coming soon homes this week has dropped down to 40 homes. So I think last week we were at 50. I think those 10 all hit the market. Perhaps they were trying to get on the market before the holiday weekend. Good strategy. Get them out there. I'm just happy to see more listings coming out so my buyers have more opportunities. The number of homes sold in the last 30 days, 1,759, giving us roughly 2.1 months worth of inventory. We've been tracking right at this 2 months of inventory, 2.1, slight increase. We're still so far below what would be considered a normal market by any standard. Now the number of homes with a 4-car garage, 116, of which 34 are under $1 million. 34 opportunities out there for you big garage buyers to find the affordable garage home. I can help you do it. There's 34 choices. For the number of new homes this week with a 4-car garage, 12 of them are on the market, 3 of which are under $1 million, which is always good. Number of pending homes, this went up. We had 9 homes go pending this week, 5 of which were affordable garage homes, but 9 homes. That's a pretty good number. That's good. Last week we only had 3 homes that went pending with a 4-car garage, so that's substantial. The number of sold homes in this week, 7, 5 of which were those under $1 million homes. So buyers, those came off the table for you affordable buyers. Let's see what we can do to get a few more on the market. The number of sold homes in the last 30 days, 26, 15 of which were under $1 million. We're roughly looking at, based on the numbers, a 5-month supply of 4-car garage homes, but again, these represent the luxury homes, so that it's a skewed analysis, statistician there. For the homes under $1 million with a 4-car garage, we're looking at roughly a 3-month inventory, but again, this can easily bounce between 2 to 3 to 4 in that range because there's so few homes. Again, only 34 homes in the market. You don't need to sell many to adjust that number. Now, let's get to those 3 takeaways. First of all, as I said, buyers are sensitive to changes in rates. Because we've seen stability here for the last 4 weeks and mortgage rates sitting right around that 7%, buyer activity has continued. We've had the number of pending homes each week, 583, 524, 507. It's just staying relatively stable because buyers have adjusted. They react to changes in that rate, but they accept what is there. Purchases will continue as long as those rates remain stable. And we're still seeing 25% of new listings go pending immediately that first week, which is a good, consistent number. That's a reasonable activity measure of how the market is doing. Now, get to the second point, home prices will now become positive year over year, 2023 to 2022. Once again, from last year, we saw just a takeoff in values and prices at sold homes at the beginning of the year, multiple offers, people offering over asking, and then mortgage rates crossed up 5.5%, and suddenly buyer activity stopped. Didn't like the change. Listings came down, price adjustments came in. Now what we're seeing this year is a much more steady, continuous growth. And as a result, we've now passed where those prices dropped last year. So now we will start to see positive headlines talking about how we will have growth. Realistically, we're about 3.6% up in median prices over last year. So we would expect single-digit growth for this year, maybe flat, but I think now we're looking more that it will increase. So ideally, we get back to that 4.5% normal appreciation annual. That would be good. I'd love to see a 4.5% appreciation in my house. That would be good. I'd love to see 20, but realistically, a consistent 4.5% all day long, I'm happy with that. Now, I have continued to beat this drum. I watch 6 different YouTube channels, and of which 1 is data-driven. The other 5 are what I would say title-driven. They're the clickbait. They're the ones I want to see the craziness that's out there. And truly, those 5, I don't see any of their predictions coming true. They continue to predict that the sky is falling, birds and dogs and cats all fighting. You know, it doesn't happen. I'm not seeing that. From the data perspective, on the 6th channel I follow, on Altos Reports, the data is it's presented in a much more methodical way that I appreciate, that I can interpret and share with you, and it doesn't scare me. It gives me insight. It gives me the ability to make educated decisions, much as I hope these videos do for you. All right, I'll wrap it up there. Have yourselves a wonderful week. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Be safe, be responsible, and we'll see you back. I'll probably do next week's recording maybe a day or 2 later. We'll see what we do, but we'll definitely be back after the holiday. Have a great weekend.